Hey guys, in the news today, a mom was charged with murder after her 4-year-old son died after he ate THC laced gummy bears. This is according to the Shade Room. The woman's name is Dorothy Annette Clements, who is 30, and she's from Virginia. And she was charged with felony murder and felony child neglect in the death of her 4-year-old son. She was taken into custody on Thursday by the Sheriff's Department. The family resides in Spotsylvania County in Virginia. The son died on May the 8th of this year after suffering a medical emergency 2 days before at a home in the 5400 block of Jamie Court. So says the sheriff. So the son died back in May, and I guess pending all the investigation, and they found that she was at fault. So a few days ago, she was officially charged with murder. It probably wasn't clear how he died at first, but after the autopsy and the toxicology report came in, it takes a couple of weeks. Sometimes, I was told about a month to come in, depending on what they're looking for. So the toxicology report came in, and it found that the child did died of this lace THC gummy bears. So the mother is officially charged with the child's death. She was indicted on Monday by the Spotsylvania County Grand Jury for the death of her son. So the detectives from the Department of Child Victims Unit investigated the child's death, and they learned from the doctors that the child's toxicity level showed a high level of the THC, the active chemical ingredient found in cannabis or the marijuana plant that produces the high. So detectives had determined that the child ingested a large amount of THC gummy bears. Doctors told the investigators that the child's death could have been prevented if the medical intervention occurred shortly after ingestion, so says the sheriff's office. The New York Post had this write-up. So the mother was arrested on Thursday, and she remains in jail with no bond. So YouTubers, if you find yourself in this specific situation where your child ingested your drug because you have it laying around the house, and you really shouldn't. If you're going to partake in any type of drug activity, you really should have it put away that children cannot reach it in any way, shape, or form. But for the sake of arguing, let's say the child does manage to get a hold of your drugs and ingest the drugs, and the child is knocked out cold, and you are panicking and you're trying to think, okay, what should I do? I'm going to be charged with a crime here. And you try your best to revive the child. That's delaying medical help. And you will be held accountable if you delay medical help for that child, because based on how long the child is knocked out, the amount of drugs in the system can be traced. Medical examiner know exactly the time of death based on rigor mortis when it sets in, and the condition of the skin, the blood pooling, all of that. Okay, they've got this thing down to a science. So do not delay getting your child or children help if they should ingest any type of drugs and you're at fault for leaving the drugs out. Because this little boy could have been saved if the mother had reached out earlier to the hospital for the EMT or EMS to come get the child. They could have worked on that child, reversed the toxicity in the child's system, and that child would have been alive today. The mother would not have been sitting behind bars waiting for her sentencing, because after she goes through a trial, trust and believe she's going to jail because she was at fault for the child's death. She would not have been going to jail today for a very lengthy sentence, no doubt. So YouTubers, Keep your children safe out there if you're going to partake in any type of drugs, whether marijuana, heroin, you name it. Keep those drugs out of the reach of your children. The next story is a Washington woman escapes a shallow grave after being buried alive, allegedly by her husband. She told the police that my husband is trying to kill me. The woman alleged that she dragged herself out of the shallow grave where her husband buried her alive. So this happened in Thurston County. Deputies responded to a home on Tuesday at around 1 a.m. where the 42-year-old woman pounded on the resident's door asking for help as her husband, she says, trying to kill her. So according to the news release from Lacey Police Department, the woman who was transported to the nearby hospital with non-life-threatening injuries allegedly told the Lacey Police Department, LPD, the police department detectives, that her husband had kidnapped her from her home and driven her into the woods where he stabbed her and buried her alive. Well, if he stabbed her, that's life-threatening. I would think any type of stabbing is life-threatening, but the Post newspaper reported it as non-life-threatening. I know that any type of stabbing, I don't care if you stab me on the hand, that's life-threatening because that knife could have injured a major vessel. So after being put into the ground, she could hear her husband walking around the hole and dirt being put on top of her. That's what she told the police. I'm telling you guys, when your spouse said they want a divorce, don't fight them. Give them that divorce. If they want a separation, don't fight them. Give them that separation. And above all, if you see your spouse coming in the house with a shovel, some ropes, gloves, tapes, and a couple of black garbage bags, get the hell out of the house and do not return because they're planning something for your behind, okay? And it ain't pretty. According to a declaration of probable cause filed on Wednesday in Thurston County Superior Court, according to NBC News. So according to the documents obtained by the outlet, the woman believes she was in the grave for hours and survived by wiggling her face around to create some air pockets. So she said she waited for it to get dark before trying to struggle free out of the hole. I guess she might have been thinking that if she tried to get out sooner, when it was daylight or when light was still there, that her husband might have been sitting in the car watching to see if she would emerge, and then he would really finish her off. So she waited until it got dark before trying her attempt to get out the hole. So she struggled free and escaped. She walked for about 20 to 30 minutes until she found help. And she told the person that my husband is trying to kill me, she yelled. According to the declaration of probable cause obtained by NBC News, she had duct tape still wrapped around her neck, lower face, and ankles. The declaration read, according to the outlet, there was extensive bruising to her legs, arms, head. Her clothing and hair were covered with dirt. I would imagine all the bruising, that extensive bruising came from her being dragged through the woods. And you know, the woods is full of sticks and all kinds of shrubs. So, of course, she's going to have extensive bruising. But how horrible for this woman that her husband was so intent on killing her. And all the evidence was there, the duct tape around her neck, her face, her, all parts of her. And I'm telling you, when people are bent on leaving you or you don't want to leave, when they say they want you to go, they will revert to some harshness to get you to leave, and that goes for everyone out there in our everyday lives. You got a man, or a man got a woman, and they might not tell you they want you to leave, but they start doing things that they know you don't like. You're arguing a lot, and he's passing gas when he knows that normally he would go to the bathroom or some other part of the house where you won't have to smell it. All of a sudden he's passing gas in your face right there, you sitting there. He is doing all kinds of stuff that he knows irritates you. That's a sign that that man wants you to go, or that woman wants you to go, because he don't give a damn anymore, or that woman don't give a damn anymore what you think and how you feel, and they want to get rid of you. So you got to pick up the clues. Don't wait until that man go get some duct tape, some rope, some black bags, Clorox, gloves, etc. for you to get the hint, okay? Some of us read the signs too late, or we just ignore the signs, ignoring the signs, like Queenie and Dewey, how Dewey wants to leave, how many times he has shown her where he wants to go. And she keeps fighting for him. She cussing people out for him. She going to look where he is to bring him back, like if he's a child, dragging him back home. Sooner or later, people get fed up. Sooner or later, people say, you know what? I got to send a strong message. He's not getting the hint. She don't want to go, or he don't want to go. And then they start buying products, folks, from the store. They get their gloves, their shopping bag, the black bags, the garbage bag. They get their duct tapes, all right? And their rope. And then maybe the person gets the message that they ain't playing. They want you to go. So the man's name is Che Yang. And tonight he's sitting behind bars for the stabbing of his estranged wife, the burying her alive. The police will tell you that the most dangerous time for a woman is when she leaves her abuser, or when she's going through a divorce. So according to the Lacey Police Department, this woman had filed a domestic violence allegation against her husband, and he was arrested several hours later, according to the Thurston County Sheriff's Department. Her estranged husband is 53 and she's 47. At the time of this attempted murder, they were separated and she filed for a divorce. Some people cannot be left. If they're going to leave you, they make sure that they do damage to you, or they try to kill you, or do some type of harm to your vehicle. But they make sure they are going to do some damage before they exit your life. According to police, the husband attacked his wife while the two of them were discussing their impending divorce and money issue. How everything is going to be divided up. The woman told police that her husband bounded her with duct tape, kidnapped her in the family's van. She said she was able to send out emergency notifications to her close contacts from her Apple Watch. So what I'm gathering here by what she said is that she had on the Apple Watch, and as they were arguing, she was sending out notifications just in case something happened to her, or in case he beats her or something. She was sending out these notifications to let her family and friends know what was going on with her, and managed to contact 911 but couldn't communicate further as her mouth was covered. So based on how her husband was acting, she dialed 911. But 911, when they were saying, hello, hello, can I help you, hello, she couldn't talk because he had already duct taped her mouth at this point. So at least she did try to reach out to the authorities, but her mouth was duct taped, so she couldn't do anything else. So after being put into the ground, she could hear her husband walking around the hole. But she said prior to that, her husband later smashed the watch with a hammer. That's to keep her from communicating or someone tracing the call, I guess. Then dragged her, and then he drove to a local wooded area and began digging a hole before stabbing her multiple times in the chest. So she told police. And after he was done stabbing her, he dragged her into the hole and covered it with a tree, I guess tree branches. And after being put into the ground, she could hear her husband walking around the hole, and he was throwing dirt on top of her. Can you imagine how fearful she was? Oh my goodness, when you know someone is intent on killing you and there's no one around to save you. So the woman estimated to the police that she had been buried for several hours, and she said she managed to remove some of the duct tape from her hands because her hand was bounded also with duct tape, her mouth as well as her ankles. So when she managed to remove some of the duct tape from her hands and was able to escape the hole, she said she created little pockets of air so she can breathe while she was buried. That's really a will to survive. So she ran for almost 30 minutes until she found a home where the residents called 911. My goodness, what a horrifying experience. But thank God he is behind bars tonight without bail because he's too much of a risk for them to let him out on bail. So the judge denied bail because he might commit suicide or he might go find her again and really do her in this time. So he's being held without bond. So my goodness, be careful, folks. You got to be careful when you're going through that separation or divorce, or somebody tells you, we should break up. Don't fight them. Say, listen, if it's not working for you, it's not working for me. So I agree with you. We should call it quits. But what a horrifying experience. I really can put myself in her shoe and kind of imagine what I would have done in those circumstances. Under those circumstances, I don't know what I would have done. But I have to hand it to her. She has a lot of grit, sheer grit, and a will to live. YouTubers, stay safe out there. I'm over and out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel and to this video. Thank you for watching.